Oh boy, time to try something new. Welcome to XP Check, where I share all of the nerdy things that I've been reading, watching, and playing. My name is Caden, and first up, we have Dispatch. Dispatch is an episodic, decision-based game from Ad Hoc Studios and Critical Role. Ad Hoc Studios being made up of former Telltale, Ubisoft, and Night School Studio employees, which means that this very style of game is something that a lot of them have made before. It is a decision-based game where you would find from Telltale with those different dialogue options and choices affecting how the story plays out, but also it's broken up with these different sections of the game, with primarily the gameplay being this kind of management sim where you send out your heroes on different calls based off their strengths and weaknesses. So it's definitely a little bit more of like a strategic based game, and also has some hacking mini games in there to kind of break up the cutscenes with the Telltale style gameplay. The story of the game follows Robert Robertson III, a superhero named Mecha Man, after he gets his mecha suit destroyed and he takes a job at the superhero dispatch network in order to pay for repairs. He leads a team of former villains, with the story primarily focusing on themes of identity and redemption, and it's very sincere and heartfelt in the way that it pursues those themes. One of my favorite things about Dispatch is how it feels like your choices actually matter, where in Telltale games or even the Dark Pictures anthology, it doesn't really feel like a lot of your choices matter. It maybe ends up in like a different dialogue option or a small change to a cutscene, but the overall feel of those games stays the same, where in Dispatch, it's still going to hit those same story points no matter what playthrough you're going through, but it feels like it makes a huge difference, which is really the entire theme behind a decision-based game, and that's how you make it feel like it's worth replaying. Part of what makes the game so fun is just how charming the characters are, and with a pretty fantastic cast. I mean, you have Aaron Paul and you have Jeffrey Wright, those big Hollywood heavy hitters, and you have the content creators like Moist Critical and Jacksepticeye and even Alana Pierce playing some characters. And then of course you have the amazing cast from Critical Role throwing their hat into the ring and helping create some very genuine connection between characters. It's very charming to see how they interact even outside of cutscenes. Just the little dialogue between them on calls while you're playing the management part of the game feels fantastic to just see what kind of lines you're going to get from them, and based off of what your choice is, what their attitude is. I would love to learn more about these characters. They really do draw me in. And as a side note, my favorite is Gollum, who's played by Young Gravy, if you can believe it, which is also an awesome addition to the cast. And of course, one of the best parts of the game is just how terrifying the villain really is. Shroud, who's played by Matthew Mercer, is incredibly well written to terrify you and make you feel like your decisions don't matter in the most intimidating way possible. We've gotten some teasers for Season 2 amongst other discussions for various future projects with Dispatch, but I absolutely can't wait to see what happens in the future with it. If you're looking for a game with genuine, sincere storytelling and connections between the characters, pick up Dispatch. Up next, we have The Mighty Nein, an animated series based off of Critical Role's second campaign. Which, if you don't know what Critical Role is, it started out as a live stream of a bunch of nerdy-ass voice actors playing Dungeons & Dragons, and evolved into a full-blown company and production. The Mighty Nein is an animated adaptation of the second campaign they played on stream, with their first campaign being adapted already into The Legend of Vox Machina, and now them going through their second campaign. And I have a personal connection to this because their second campaign is the first one that I ended up watching when I first started playing D&D. One of my favorite things about the animated series is that they start before the stream begins in the campaign in the game, with some more backstory stuff and showing kind of the setup for what leads into the primary story. But also they have some changes just to make sure that the story flows better as a series than as a game of D&D and a campaign and a live stream where all kinds of chaos and the kind of gamified elements affect the story. Of course, all of the characters are fantastic. I mean, Critical Role has some of the most talented voice actors in the industry, but also the storytelling is focused on their very personal arcs as characters and their struggles as people. For me, my favorite character is Ford, nerd because I connect with his personal story about imposter syndrome and the desire to become who you want to be, which is something that in my personal life I've had struggles with myself. You don't even have to be a D&D nerd or a tabletop player or even watch the stream to get into the animated series. That's the best thing about it. It is a really good story, and if you're looking for a very personal tale with the kind of backdrop of fantasy setting behind it, go ahead and check out The Mighty Nein on Amazon Prime. Finally, we have The Weekly Roll, which is a webcomic created by CME_T, who is a Swedish artist who's made a lot of different webcomics, from Sell Swords and Sorcery to the Postal Chronicles, which are more the fantasy-based webcomics that have some comedic tones to them, and also the Rogue's Retinue, which is a Warhammer 40k webcomic based off of the Rogue Trader games. But his primary comic is The Weekly Roll, which focuses on these comedic D&D hijinks you would get into the game, which isn't really based off an actual campaign that he's played, but more so just experiences from the game itself, which make it very easy for a lot of D&D players to relate to because we found ourselves in similar situations. As the common theme today, all of the characters in The Weekly Roll are incredibly charming and well written. They have very comedic and flawed personalities, and watching them go through these hijinks together is the best part of the story. Beyond that, his art style is fantastic. It's all colored in grayscale, and he uses shadows very well to emphasize certain points in his panels. It's just a really good webcomic. If you're looking for something that doesn't take itself too seriously and you can get a good laugh out of, definitely check out The Weekly Roll. You can find it on Instagram and especially on Webtoons. Before I move on, I want to hear your opinion. Which of these do you think deserves its own full episode? Dispatch, the Mighty Nein animated series, or the webcomic The Weekly Roll? Let me know your vote in the comments below. And while you're there, you might as well also leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from the XP&E crew. Before I go, I just want to check in with you guys. Know that whatever you're working towards right now, whatever challenges you're facing, even the small steps count. What I'm going to ask of you this week is to write down all of the successes, no matter how small they seem, that you've had throughout the week. And if you feel like sharing, let me know about your wins in the comments. Thanks for hanging out. My name is Caden from the XP&E crew, and I'll see you next time.